Welcome to the S&P Knowledge Series. Today we embark on the topic Navigating the Unseen, a comprehensive exploration of project risk dynamics, authored by Mr. S.N. Panigrahi. Project risks are potential events or conditions that, if they occur, may have a positive or negative impact on one or more project objectives such as scope, schedule, cost, quality, etc. Here's a breakdown by category. 1. Scope risks. Scope risks arise from poorly defined project requirements, uncontrolled changes, or a lack of clarity about what the project will and will not deliver. Scope risk refers to the possibility of scope creep, ambiguous requirements, or incomplete scope definition affecting project deliverables. Key risks: scope creep, uncontrolled expansion of the project scope without necessary adjustments to time, budget, and resources. Failure to manage change requests formally. Poorly defined requirements. Ambiguous, incomplete, or conflicting requirements leading to misunderstandings and rework. Overly ambitious or underdefined project objectives. Lack of stakeholder agreement. Conflicting expectations among stakeholders regarding the project deliverables. Unclear project objectives. Lack of a clear and measurable definition of what the project aims to achieve. Misalignment between business needs and project deliverables. Changing business needs. Shifts in the market or organizational priorities that necessitate changes to the project scope. Gold plating. Adding unnecessary features or functionality that are not part of the original requirements. Example: in a metro rail project, adding additional stations midway without proper change control increases complexity and cost. 2. Schedule risks. Time, like a flowing river, waits for no one. Schedule risks can stem from unrealistic time estimates, dependencies between tasks, resource unavailability, or unforeseen delays. Schedule risk involves uncertainties that can cause delays in project timelines, shape the flow of time through diligent planning and execution. Key risks: unrealistic time estimates, underestimating the time required to complete tasks, delay in approvals or permits, dependency issues, delays in one task impacting subsequent tasks. Resource unavailability, key personnel, equipment, or materials not being available when needed. Poor task management, inefficient planning, tracking, and control of project activities. External delays. Delays caused by external factors such as supplier issues or regulatory approvals. Critical path issues. Delays in tasks on the critical path directly impacting the project completion date. Lack of buffer time. Insufficient contingency built into the schedule to accommodate unforeseen delays. Example: monsoon delays in construction activities for a highway EPC project not accounted for in baseline schedule. 3. Cost risks. These risks relate to budget overruns and financial uncertainties. Cost risk refers to factors that may cause the project to exceed its budget estimates. Cost risks can arise from inaccurate cost estimates, changes in resource prices, unexpected expenses, or poor financial management. Key risks: inaccurate cost estimates, underestimating the costs of resources, materials, or labor. Scope changes. Approved changes to the scope often lead to additional costs. Inflation and market fluctuations. Increases in the prices of goods and services. Resource cost increases. Unexpected rises in the cost of personnel, equipment, or contractors. Contingency insufficiency, inadequate budget allocated to cover unforeseen expenses. Poor financial management, lack of proper tracking, monitoring, and control of project expenditures. Currency fluctuations. For international projects, changes in exchange rates can impact costs. Example: cost overrun due to underestimating the steel price volatility in a water treatment plant. 4. Quality risks. Quality is the essence of a project's success. Quality risk refers to the possibility of not meeting the required quality standards or specifications, leading to rework, customer dissatisfaction, or compliance issues. Quality risks can result from inadequate planning, poor execution, lack of quality control, or unclear quality standards. Key risks: lack of proper quality standards or documentation, poor requirements definition, unclear or ambiguous quality standards, inadequate testing, insufficient testing to identify defects and ensure quality. Lack of quality assurance processes, absence of systematic processes to ensure quality throughout the project lifecycle. Skill deficiencies, project team members lacking the necessary skills to deliver the required quality. Poor execution, errors or mistakes made during the development or implementation phases. Use of substandard materials, employing materials or components that do not meet quality standards. Lack of stakeholder involvement in quality reviews, not involving stakeholders in quality checks and approvals. Skill gaps in the workforce. Example, compromise in concrete mix. Quality to meet tight deadlines in a housing project leads to structural defects. Establish clear standards, rigorous quality control measures, and a culture of continuous improvement. Ensure every aspect of the project resonates with excellence. Five, communication risks. Communication is the invisible thread connecting every stakeholder. These risks relate to ineffective or insufficient information sharing among stakeholders. These risks arise due to miscommunication, lack of timely updates or delays, conflicts, and inadequate stakeholder engagement. Key risks: lack of a communication plan, absence of a defined strategy for information dissemination, over-reliance on informal communication, fail of communication media. Poor information flow, delays or missing or blockages in the flow of critical project information. Stakeholder misunderstandings, misinterpretation, conflicting interpretations of project information. Lack of transparency, not sharing relevant information with stakeholders in a timely manner. Ineffective communication channels, protocols, using inappropriate methods for communicating different types of information. Language or cultural barriers in global projects. Challenges in communication due to diverse backgrounds of stakeholders. Lack of feedback mechanisms. Insufficient processes for receiving and acting upon stakeholder feedback. Example: design revisions not communicated timely to site engineers, causing rework in a bridge construction project. Cultivate open and transparent communication channels to bridge gaps and ensure harmonious collaboration. Regular meetings, detailed reports, and active listening are essential. 6. Resource risks. Resource risks relate to availability, allocation, or capability of human and material resources. Resource risks are a critical concern in any project. These risks involve the unavailability, inadequacy, or mismanagement of resources required for the project. Resource risks can impact the project schedule, cost, and quality. Resources include human resources, equipment, materials, and funding. From unavailability to mismanagement, these risks can derail your project's schedule, cost, and quality. Key risks to watch include inefficient resource planning and allocation. Inefficient resource planning can result in resource over-allocation, creating bottlenecks and delays. Resource availability risk. Insufficient number of team members with the necessary expertise. Skill set mismatch. Assigned team members lack necessary qualifications or expertise. High resource turnover or attrition. High resource turnover means losing key team members, causing knowledge gaps and further delays. Equipment failure or material shortages. Then there's equipment failure, where breakdowns or unavailability of critical machinery can halt progress. Material shortages can leave you without necessary supplies, while funding constraints limit the financial resources needed to support project activities. Productivity variability. Actual output of resources falls below expected productivity. Poor resource management, from inefficient allocation to low productivity due to lack of motivation or training, adds to these challenges. Consider this: an oil pipeline project delayed due to a shortage of skilled welding professionals. It's a classic example of how resource risks can impact your project. Resource cost escalation. Increase in the cost of labor, materials, or equipment may lead to project risks. Funding constraints. Insufficient or delayed funds affecting resource mobilization and continuity. Regulatory or compliance restrictions. Legal or policy limitations on resource deployment leading to adverse impact on the project. Environmental or external impact. External conditions affect resource utilization. Natural calamities and environmental factors also affect resource engagement for the projects. Resource conflicts across projects. Resource contention across multiple concurrent projects. Shared resources are pulled in multiple directions across projects. Resource-related risks can cause delays, cost overruns, and quality issues. Proactive risk identification, mitigation planning, and resource optimization strategies are essential for successful project delivery. Use of tools like resource histograms, risk registers, and Monte Carlo simulations can enhance predictability and control. 7. Procurement risks. We rely on external partners and suppliers to bring our vision to life. Procurement risks are associated with acquiring goods and services from external vendors or suppliers. Procurement risks are linked to delays, disputes, or failures in procuring goods or services from vendors or subcontractors. Procurement risks can affect the project schedule, cost, and quality of deliverables. Key risks: vendor selection errors, choosing suppliers unable to meet project needs, supply chain disruptions, materials or services unavailable when needed due to supply shortages, logistical issues, geopolitical events, natural disasters, or supplier problems, supplier reliability issues, vendors failing to deliver goods or services on time as promised, poor supplier quality, goods or services received from suppliers not meeting the required standards, contract issues, ambiguous or poorly defined contracts leading to disputes, inadequate contract terms or SLAs, price volatility, unexpected increases in the cost of procured items or services, supplier insolvency or non-performance, vendors going out of business, disrupting the supply chain. Single source dependency, relying on a single supplier, making the project vulnerable to their issues. Ineffective procurement processes, inefficient processes for vendor selection, contract negotiation, and order management. Legal or compliance issues with imported goods. Delay in receiving imported electromechanical equipment due to customs clearance, stalling a water treatment project. Thorough due diligence, careful contract negotiation, and strong relationships with reliable suppliers are essential. Establish a robust and resilient supply chain to mitigate risks. 8. Project stakeholders. Every project exists within a web of relationships with stakeholders. Understanding their interests and motivations is essential for effective engagement. Project stakeholders are individuals, groups, or organizations that can be affected by, or perceive themselves to be affected by the project. Understanding their interests and influence is crucial for project success. This interconnected web comprises key players such as the executive sponsor, whose vision shapes the project but carries the potential for strategic divergence, the project manager, navigating the complexities of execution and timelines, the project team, whose skills are vital yet subject to resource constraints, and the end users, whose validation is paramount but can lead to evolving scope. The stakeholder landscape also includes functional managers, balancing project needs with broader organizational priorities, customers, clients, whose requirements, if not clearly defined, can introduce uncertainty, suppliers, vendors, whose reliability is crucial amidst potential supply chain disruptions, and regulatory bodies, whose compliance requirements can impact project timelines. Regular communication, active listening, and addressing concerns build trust, foster collaboration, and thereby reduce the project risks. 9. Compliance risks. Project success requires navigating compliance risks and aligning with ethical principles. Compliance means adherence to mandatory laws, regulations, standards, and organizational policies relevant to the project or organization. The risk of non-compliance with legal, regulatory, contractual, or industry or quality standards. Key risks: breach of labor laws, safety codes, non-compliance with environmental regulations, violation of data privacy, poor record-keeping or audit trails, contractual non-adherence, unethical practices. Example: metro project halted due to lack of environmental clearance, incurring heavy penalties. Why compliance is critical for projects. Non-compliance may result in legal action, fines, reputational damage, mandatory and regulated industries like infrastructure, healthcare, finance, etc. Embed compliance into the DNA of the projects with thorough risk assessments and robust programs. True success is achieved through a steadfast commitment to doing what is right. Risk management, a strategic lever for project success. Embrace risk management as a proactive, strategic lever to transform threats into opportunities. Integrated risk planning allows us to anticipate challenges and make informed decisions, foster a culture of risk awareness to navigate complexities and achieve lasting success. Integrate risk planning across all dimensions, scope, schedule, cost, etc., is essential. Compliance risk is increasingly critical in today's regulated and ESG-sensitive world. Successful projects manage risks not in silos but as part of a cross-functional, continuous, and responsive approach. Proactive risk identification, assessment, and mitigation are essential for project success. Do you find the presentation informative and useful? If yes, then click like. And also subscribe the channel for free to receive updates. Thank you. For more details, contact SN Panigrahi at the below contact details.